Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Whiskey Wonders. And today we are back again in our favorite international terminal at the Los Angeles International Airport, the duty free, as we call at LAX. And we are doing our second round of a wander through here because this time around there was just so much amazing whiskey that it would be hard to fit it all into at least just one video. And also this time around, we're going to be talking about some of the amazing, some of the basically impossible to find in the wild Japanese whiskeys that are just sitting there on the shelves for the taking, albeit for a pretty penny. Now, specifically, we're talking about the Yamazaki 18 and the travel-only, beautifully decorated and so tempting Hibiki Harmony Master Select Limited Edition. Now, before we get to the video, if you like these videos, in fact, if you like all of our videos, whether it is the wanders or the hauls or the reviews, the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we have cooking up for you, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. Thank you. And we are growing. But also because you get notifications when our long videos come out like these ones, or our short videos come out kind of randomly in between. All right, now, let's get down to the video. All right, so while we are waiting for the WanderVision to get fired up, let us too get fired up and get a glass here and do a real quick whiskey check. And perhaps this is gonna be a bit of a faux pas, given the fact that we are Suntory heavy in this one. But today, I'm gonna be enjoying some of this Nika from the barrel. And I will tell you that when the Japanese make a Japanese whiskey that is designed for the American audience, the American audience definitely enjoys it. So there won't be a pop because it is a screw off. The only one real kind of true bummer about it. And let's see if we can get a little juice. Oh yeah. And not spill. Whiskey abuse. And whiskey. Because let's face it, you can never really drink too much of it. You can only just drink it too fast. Cheers. Oh, man. Such a good Japanese cover of American type of whiskey. All right, so first up for today, and very surprising, to be honest, to still find sitting on the shelf, and it'll become more apparent as we look at the price, is a Japanese whiskey that I personally have a love relationship with. But the price is one of those things that is always a bit of a kick in the pants, which is what we see on the shelf, but what we already have here at home, a bottle of the Yamazaki 18. Now, the Yamazaki 12, the younger brother of it, I guess we could pull that one. Yamazaki 12 is good, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Yamazaki 12 is good, but the Yamazaki 18 is where the whiskey really begins to shine. It is the specific sweet spot for the Yamazaki, at least in my humble opinion. Which is interesting because it is sort of the inverse situation for the other brother of the family, the Hakushu, where the 18 and the Yamazaki is leaps and bounds better than the Yamazaki 12. The Hakushu 18 is actually not so much better than the Hakushu 12. Again, check out our tasting of both of them, the Yamazaki 18, Yamazaki 12, Hakushu 18, Hakushu 12, side by side. I'll put a link up here for it as well. But either way, we see this one here at the LAX Duty Free, the Yamazaki 18, the standard line of it, because this year, or I guess more appropriately last year, 2023, was the 100th anniversary of Suntory, and Suntory had come out with a 100th anniversary version of the Yamazaki 18 and the Hakushu 18, which I think is probably the reason why this one is still there, or the Yamazaki 18 is still there, also because of the price. The price aside, it is more the fact that those folks who are inclined to pick up a standard Yamazaki 18 for what approximately is the same amount, would be maybe saving that money for a 100th anniversary Yamazaki 18, would simply be my guess. Now, Yamazaki 18 is distilled by Suntory in Japan, the arch nemesis of Nika, thank you. I think they can all play well together on the same bar. But it's also important to mention that it is one of the oldest, in fact, I think it is the oldest and most Japanese of whiskeys. It is considered actual Japanese whiskey because of the fact that the distilling, the aging, and the finish are all done by Suntory in their Suntory warehouses, all in Japan. Additionally, the whiskey is composed of 100% malted barley and is aged in both sherry and mizunara cask. The latter of the two is a barrel that is getting rarer and rarer by the year, as it takes the Mizunara oak over 100 years or so to get to the point, to the level of maturity that it can actually be used for the whiskey. And of course, with the recent Japanese boom, there just isn't enough Mizunara to go around. But I will tell you for sure, that Mizunara has such a rich, distinctive flavor that is just so unique in comparison to what you can find from American and European oak. So it's definitely worth the extra price. That being said, here at LAX Duty Free, the cost on the Yamazaki 18 is what I would definitely consider unreasonable, because we see it here for $1,350.00. Now, of course, at the duty free, there's the added benefit of not having any taxation on the bottle. But literally recently, within the last 6 months, even after the price hikes from Suntory, we were able to find a Yamazaki 18 at a Costco for $479. Which means that if we had purchased the Yamazaki 18 at the LAX Duty Free, we would have paid $871 more at that price, or 181% more than what we got at Costco. And in fact, I think that there are Yamazaki 18s, the 100th anniversary version out there, that are only maybe about $100 difference from what they're charging for this one. So, that is my basis, Your Honor, for why I think it's not reasonable. That being said, the ABV on the Yamazaki 18 is at the standard 43%, which you all can see right there. This one is the 750 milliliter bottle, so you don't lose any of the milliliters, and for that price, you shouldn't. Obviously, it is aged 18 years old. Now, the tasting notes on it, including mine, go check out the tasting one more time, I'll plug it, there's rock candy sweetness, a very light but enjoyable oakiness, creaminess, malty palate that is complicated by things like vanilla, dates, berries, and almost like a sweet brown pear, perhaps even a sweet brown Asian pear. A little too on the nose, maybe. The average review scores I can find on it, including mine, put it at 91 points out of 100. I think it probably could go a little bit higher, but 91 seems fair. So obviously this is just a very, very good whiskey to me. And it's just, again, at that sweet spot of where Yamazaki just gets leaps and bounds better than the 12 at the 18 year. But at $1,300 or so, ooh, that's going to be a pass. Even if you found it in Europe, you can find it for around $800 in Europe. Although it's still kind of difficult to get there too. So it just doesn't make sense to buy it at such an egregious price. So very sad to say, this one was passed. All right, next up is another from the Suntory family. Maybe perhaps we can refer to it as a clan. That always seems to be on the shelves here at the LAX Duty Free. And it is usually one of the most expensive bottles that you see on the shelf, with the exception of the Yamazaki 18s when they're in town. Which is this travel-only version of the beloved Hibiki, specifically the Hibiki Master Select Limited Edition. And if there ever was a Hibiki, more so than the other Hibikis, that was going to be at least half peacock, it would definitely be this one. Just looking at it, or rather even just like walking by it in the duty free, it's really difficult to ignore a bottle that is so beautiful and so well designed and so flashy as this one. Just look at that. It's amazing just to look at. And the whiskey inside, also probably pretty good. Obviously, this one is not open yet. Yes, I'll take the heat for the neck pours. Okay, I got it. But you know what? I'd rather collect fast and drink slow. So that being said, this edition is the youngest edition of the Hibiki Kacho Fugetsu Limited Edition series. Whew, that's a tough one to say. And it is composed of 10 different malts and grain whiskeys as a blend, of course, which come from across the palette of distilleries that are Suntory in the Suntory arsenal. So that means there is juice in here from Hakushu, there is whiskey in here from Cheetah, and there's whiskey in here from the Yamazaki distillers, all blended together by master distiller Shinju Fukuyo. Whew, I think I got that one right. Sorry, Shinju. Additionally, not for nothing, as I did mention, the bottle is specifically designed for this edition to evoke the symbolism, the harmonious balance of the blend that is supposed to be reflected in the whiskey. But of course, what is not exactly harmonious, to say, is going to be the cost. Because here at the LAX Duty Free, we can see that the cost on the Hibiki Master Select limited edition is $320, which is pretty much the highest that I've ever seen it at. Because not too long ago, my father-in-law recently sent this one available to us that he found at the Singapore duty-free in his travels, which came out to about $218 USD. And in fact, this specific one I had seen at LAX duty-free maybe 6 months ago, about 6 months ago, for $280. So even if we have to compare the prices of the LAX now versus LAX 6 months ago, we can see if we had bought it now, we would have paid $40 more for it, about 12.50% more. I mean, come on, Suntory, you're putting the screws down on us on prices. Either way, this one does not have an age statement on it, but the Hibiki Master Select LE, it does have whiskeys in it that are allegedly as old as 21 years old plus blended into it. And furthermore, the ABV on it is what you would expect from a Hibiki that is similar to this at, let's see here, 43%. Also, it is, this one specifically is the 70 centiliter one, but I would imagine the one at the duty free is 750 probably. But interesting enough, that 43%, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the Hibiki being at 43% because I think it is likely appropriate for the type of whiskey that it is. Sure, a Yamazaki, perhaps a Hukushu, could go a little bit higher and still maintain that kind of palate integrity and personality. But the Hibikis, being balanced as it is and being of a slight build as it is, a higher ABV I think would only really serve to destroy those carefully balanced and counterbalanced aspects of the whiskey. The review scores I could find on the Hibiki are pretty few and far between, not really enough to even average it out since it is only a travel item. It doesn't seem like the number of people who are willing to buy it, and then also the number of people who are willing to drink it, and then moreover, the people who are willing to buy it and drink it and then write a review about it seems so limited that there's nothing really popping up on the interweb. So I don't really have any reviews on it, nor do I have any scores on it. But I can't point the dirty end of that stick at anybody else because mine is also unopened as well. So we'll leave the points in the reviews up to speculation. So lastly, overall, this one was going to be a pass at the LAX duty free because one, it can be had by other places for less expense, which also makes me kind of grumpy to see the prices go up that much. But okay, that's just how it goes. Maybe I'm a grandpa. But I'd rather just not buy it again for the higher price, and this one isn't open. And lastly, I think that this Hibiki is probably not really a drinking Hibiki. Like sometimes the wife might have shoes that are not really shoes that you wear, they're just kind of shoes that you have. This Hibiki specifically, I think is more of one, if you've already kind of crossed out all the other Hibikis on your list and you want to have something beautiful on the bar, it's not something you're going to buy because you want to drink and get an amazing experience, which it probably is. But it's probably just more something you want to buy so you can show off. So there you go. Everyone can see it. So this one at the LAX Duty Free was going to be a pass. All right, so that is it for today's Whiskey Wander at the LAX Duty Free part number 2. And I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And in fact, I hope you enjoy all of our videos, whether it is the wanders or the hauls or the reviews or the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we got cooking up for you. And we have tons of amazing stuff cooking up for you. And if you do like it, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe because it does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that, and we are growing. It's great to see. But also because you get notifications when our newest long videos as well as our short videos come out. Now, just remember, if you do find a whiskey that you love, and oh, do I love whiskey, especially this Yamazaki 18, just buy it. Because if you don't, somebody else surely will. Maybe not in this case, but it might even be me. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week. I am out, and adios. Cheers.